Good afternoon, Aegean 600 race fans. I'm Dobbs Davis with our final report for this year's fifth edition of this great race. All the teams are in, the scores are on the board, and I wanted to spend our last remaining show talking about how those on the leaderboard got to where they are. I will switch over to the leaderboard and to the results. This is overall IRC and overall ORC, and it turns out the same teams are on the top. So regardless of rating system, these teams, Best Buddies from Germany, Carpo from Slovenia, and Alia from Slovenia, are our first, second, and third place winners in overall scoring. Let's talk about how they got there, because a couple of days ago we thought the first wave of finishers were going to correct out ahead of these guys, and lo and behold, that wasn't the case. So let's see how that happened. I also want to just kind of go back and see where the key moments were for these teams who are going to be celebrating tonight at a lavish award ceremony. It's going to be great. They're going to be very happy, and I think very well deserved in what they did in this race. So we'll back out here, and I'm just going to go back in history. What I've done with the leaderboard menu, the teams menu on the left side of your screen, is just selected the classes. In this case, ORC2, ORC3. It could be IRC2 and 3. It's the same, virtually the same teams. So that way we can kind of isolate how these guys sailed this course and where they were in context with the boats around them. We all know that the race got off to a pretty good start off of Cape Suunyo. Great downwind conditions that a few hours into the race started to ease off, and the boats slowed down. They got a little bit spread out. What I'm going to do is highlight, where are they? There they are, Best Buddies. So with this tool over here, you can, over here on the left, you can grab and highlight the team that you want to look at. So outlined here, their color is blue. They have a white outlined. Hopefully that can show up on the YouTube. But this shows where they are in this pack of boats in their class. That's actually a little better scale. And as we go forward into the race, a few hours, you can see that there was an initial stop there. This was about 9:45 at night local time. That nice breeze that they had finally started to die out. Everybody slows down. Then they start again. That's, I think, where the shift happened. So the shift from northerly to westerly happened somewhere in this area of the race course. This team did pretty well at recognizing that shift and getting going again. Not very high speeds, 2.4 knots, but they are moving. I'm also going to keep an eye on Carpo, who's the runner-up in both IRC and ORC and overall scoring, because they'll figure into this too. So as they get lifted here, because the breeze has gone aft a bit, and they've got to figure out how to get back across over here to Milos. Again, light air. I'll talk a little bit about the boat too. This is not a modern boat. This boat was designed in 1979. In fact, maybe I can go back to the results and show you. There's a summary here of the history of this boat. It's a Swan 441 designed by Ron Holland in 1979. So this is an IOR era boat. It is not a modern design whatsoever. Masthead rig, not very light, and yet, fortunately our rating systems are still able to have boats like this remain competitive. But this this is also kind of a remarkable result that we have, and given the platform that they have. Now, obviously a seasoned team, they know their boat well. So in circumstances like this, when the wind gets light, they are looking at their angles. There they go. to get back. And this is all in light air in the evening. Now, finally here, this is 10:44 in the morning on Monday, and there's a little bit of speed, a little bit of breeze. They've gotten going at 5 knots rather than 3, and they're sticking well with the pack here. Now on the leg over to Santorini. Instead of sagging way off to the south like some of these boats did, they actually stuck closer to rumline. Now this is important because when analyzing this the day of this, when this was happening, we looked at the wind speeds and reckoned, well, yeah, going off to the south was going to be better because there was stronger wind down here and therefore justified. But when you have a boat like this, a fairly heavy 44-foot boat, the delta in boat speeds is not that great as you increase wind speed. So at 6.2 knots, if they went down in here and say had 1 or 2 knots more wind speed, they really weren't going to gain that much more in boat speed. So in knowing that, they didn't stray very far off this rum line, which is of course the shortest distance to the mark they've got to get to, which is over here at Santorini. So I think this was a key move for them, is recognizing that trade-off of speed and distance. And then they come in, and yes, some of the boats are ahead of them, but these boats also rate faster. So I think they came into here in good shape with the pack. This was at just prior to sunset on Monday night. Get through the caldera. Everybody was slow through here, but they managed to keep it moving. And then this next leg, the long leg down here to Cassos, I think they did a nice job here for the same reason. Instead of straying too far off to the south, or to the west rather, remember now the breeze is west-northwest, instead of doing that, they sail their best VMG numbers downwind and stick close to the track that is not going to give them a lot of extra distance. And watch this. This is where it really pays off, because those that went off to the south, they of course now have sailed a lot of extra distance. They've got to jibe back to come in toward the leeward mark. We'll call it the leeward mark down here at Cassos. And as we can see here, they come in here with a great track, really nicely done in calling that ley line from that far out. They've got pretty good speed, 7.7 knots, so plenty of breeze. Now, the next key moves, of course, are what do you do with these lees that are coming up behind Cassos and Karpathos? And the track that they take, I think, was a really good one. And again, instead of straying off, so the Carpo guys got a little lost here. They went way off to the south, to the east, in chasing down some wind that they thought maybe this lee would be bigger than it was. And meanwhile, Antelope, Best Buddies, and a handful of other boats, they stick in close to the beach and keep the boats moving. They even went up into that bay a little bit and minimize the distance. So even though they weren't going fast, they were going fast enough to punch through this lee. And then when the wind came back out of the west-northwest, they were in a great position up here. So here they are again, not going super fast, but minimizing the distance lost. So this is, I think, was another key move for them that actually put them well up with the leaders in these two classes, and in great shape to attack what they're going to do at the next island at Rhodos. So here, again, Rhodos is a place notorious for big lees. Now, as we've seen in this race, because of the wind direction being more to the west and not the north or northwest, the lee in this part of the island was really not what it usually is. I mean, this usually scares everybody and they go way out or they creep along the beach. But for these guys, they kept the boat moving. So 4.4 knots at this stage. As you get up here toward Limnos, then again, they hung in tight. Here they got great breeze. Now the time of day here is actually 3 in the morning. So night fighters, I would say. They were focused. They kept with it. They actually are now up amongst the leaders, boat for boat. in these two classes. That's a really powerful position. Kept going, full focus here, 5:24 in the morning. So it's just starting to get light. And here they are with this pack of other boats and with other boats around you, by the way. there's it's really a motivating factor. Yes, you're racing against time because of ratings and so on, but when you're out there, the energy that comes from competition is amped up at a much higher level when you've got boats around you that you're focused on trying to beat. I mean, we saw that in the fastest boats out there with Daguet and Aeolus. Those guys, very different boats, but they were close to each other, and you bet they pushed each other all the way around the racetrack. That was happening in this class as well. So up around the Port of Rhodes, and then now into the next leg. Now this is an upwind leg, so again, choices to be made. We saw some boats that tacked up here, or they went in south of this rum line in search of breeze, and these guys kind of stuck with what they had. This is a more conservative approach, but enough breeze and certainly enough boat speed for that boat to be nice upwind VMG angles and speeds. Playing the shifts, not getting too close in at that island. And look at that, they're hanging with everybody. Couple of tacks, good approach in here to this island, and then setting themselves up to get around that rock. And I would say just good conservative play. I don't think there were any, obviously some light air patches that they had to shift gears. For boats like this, it's headsail changes, going from their light one to their heavy one, and doing that in a way that's efficient and doesn't lose too much speed. And they've obviously executed that pretty well to stay up amongst the leaders. These boats, again, around them are the larger ones are about the same size, but they're more modern and they're rated to be a little faster. But they hang in here. They're right up there amongst the leaders. So in this part of the race course, I think, and again, this was also nighttime. So over here in this area, pre-dawn hours, that's when everybody's really tired and they're kind of exhausted and they don't do as best they can. And I think that team on Best Buddies, they must have had some great motivation, because I don't see any, at least on the tracker, I'm not seeing any losses in those hours. In fact, I think they're making their most gains at that time of day. Once again, up here, a little bit of work to get around this final mark over on that side of the race course, and now setting up. Now, in context, so this was, let's see, Thursday at 11:30 in the morning. That Meltemi that came in a few hours earlier was starting to spread across the race course. At this stage, they're going 6.3 knots. Probably close reaching with those massive headsails that those boats had in that era. So quite powerful sail combination for what they had relative to their competitors. And look at them just hanging with them all the time. At this point, 10 knots. So here they've got the Meltemi for sure. And again, right sail choices, powerful headsails, staying away from the lee of this island. So I think that justified a little bit of a sag there in their track. Making final approaches now into Mykonos. And that gate, again, played that well. Probably had pretty solid breeze going through there. This was on Thursday night, 11:30 at night. So again, night fighting, staying focused. There were reports several hours earlier from the fastest boats that went through there. Huge breeze, huge seas. By the time these guys got through there, I think that had dissipated quite a bit. Now they got to think about what their approach is going to be coming up to the north end of Kia. And we'll see a couple of key moves here for them. They did kind of get up in here a bit. Now, when I talked to the Daguet guys that had done that a day earlier, they said they did that because it was super windy. I'm not sure that was the case for this group. It may have been, but I'm not sure. This was yesterday, Friday morning, pre-dawn. I think by that time that Meltemi had probably died back a little bit. One of this group did something interesting. The Belgian boat went in to the lee of this island, and that, sticking close to the rum line, but anytime you get in the lee of islands, that could be dangerous. I don't think it hurt them that much, except when you look at what happens to them here. By losing a little bit and being down here and the breeze shifting, Best Buddies is positioned up here, so they're comfortably reaching and have a nice approach angle to the north side of Kia. But the Belgians down here are facing a problem, and they actually had to tack. Where is it? I think at some point. Anyway, in one of the skeds, we show them, yeah, you can see it in their track, see them having to tack a couple times to get up around there, and that's never good. That's just time lost. And being when you're on that port tack, of course, you're not making hardly any progress toward where you need to be. So they set up nicely up high here to come into Kia. I think that was another key move for them, and the rest is history, as they say. Good, strong finish. By the way, in ORC scoring, they were only, and I think I can show this, they were only several minutes. Yeah, so if we look at their corrected time, they're only 13 minutes. Sorry, 15 minutes behind, ahead of Carpo, their larger, faster rival. So over 4 days of sailing to win a race by that small margin is a testament to how hard everybody worked. So that's my story for today, and my wrap-up story for this year's edition of the race. I think this race was fantastic. It had lots of lead changes. It had lots of strategy, lots of tactics. It wasn't an outright speed race. It was in some areas of this course, but really not like it had been in previous editions. It emphasized everything with not just strategy and tactics, but teamwork and crew work and perseverance and all those great qualities for an offshore race. So on behalf of the AEGEAN 600, I want to thank you all for tuning in, and I'll sign off for now. This is Dobbs Davis.